Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. In this video, I'm going to show you how to check for engine trouble codes on a 1995 Mazda Miata MX-5. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, first the boring wordy part. So this is 1995, so this vehicle uses onboard diagnostic version 1 or OBD1 for its engine computer trouble system. Thing about OBD1 is it was not standardized. Every manufacturer had a different implementation of it and a different way of checking it. So all that being said, Mazda's is a little unique compared to, say, Ford, GM, Chrysler, whatever. So this is what we're going to do. First, we're going to get the engine running, and I'm going to show you what I will call an active trouble code, which is you will see a check engine light show up and let you know that, yeah, something has happened in real time. So we'll get the car started. Okay, car started. Now you'll notice everything should go away except for that brake light, and that's because the parking brake is on. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, just because it's easy to get to, is we'll go ahead, we'll unplug the TPS, the throttle position sensor. Yeah, I said easy to get to, didn't I? Yeah. Now, there it goes. Alright. So we come around over here, we should see a check engine light. And we do. Okay. So let's go plug that back in. Okay, let's get this plugged back in. Okay. Come back around. That light should be gone. There we go. So that's what I call an active code, but Miatas also are going to show codes in a different area, and there's a lot of codes that will show up there that don't actively show up, so we're going to go tackle that next. Okay, so this is a little bit subtle, but in order to see if you have any stored codes that may have tripped silently, or codes that have come up, you saw them because they were active and then you fixed them. To check for those, you need to put the key into the on position, and you're going to notice something. You're going to see three lights here. You're going to see charge, which is normal. It means that it detects the charging system. You're going to see the brake light, which in my case is normal because the parking brake is on. See if you... Yeah, see, that goes away. But you'll also see there's a check engine light and it has not faded away. So this means that there is at least one stored check engine code at a minimum that we need to take a look at. Now again, you'll see this if there's a code that kind of silently went off, where you didn't see anything on the dash while you were driving around. Or you will also see this if something came up on the dash, like we did with the throttle position sensor, and you fixed it, it still will have the code stored in memory. So you'll see this. So the next step is, how do we actually check this? So to check on those stored codes, or the ones that were kind of silently tripped, we have to use this diagnosis box right here. Which, I mean, to be fair, it's named appropriately, it's diagnosis, but unlike a Ford unit or some of the other manufacturers, there's no controller or reader that we can plug into this, that at least I am aware of, to pull codes and look at them. So you get this block, and it's got all these labels here on the inside of the lid. And what we need to do is we're going to run some piece of metal. You can be just about anything you can think of as long as it fits in the contacts. From the tin, which is on the top, kind of on the right, to the ground, which is G and D, which is all the way on the left in the middle row. So let's go ahead and jumper that. Okay, so we are jumpered. Notice this is just a paper clip that I bent out. Make sure you're seated actually inside of the contact, both sides firmly. If you have an intermittent connection or something like that, it's going to, you could pop a fuse or something like that. Alrighty, back in the car. So we are going to put the key into the on position again. We're going to wait. No, oh, wait, okay. So notice it's flashing, right? So what we're going to get now is a repeating flash code. And the different lengths of flashes translate to different numbers. So when you get, there's only one code right now, that's why it's cycling so quickly, and that's going to be the TPS. But how it works is you get the initial check light, right? And then there's a long, like a 4-second pause after it. And then you're going to get some flashes. And if you get, see here, I think it's to denote anything above 9, I think it is, you'll get a flash and then a small gap, maybe 2 seconds, and then some faster flashes. And that gap is the separation between like the 10s column and the 1s column. So for example, a 21 code would be flash, flash, couple second gap, flash. So let me see what we got here. I'll have to go look up what the TPS code is. I don't remember the number. So 1, 1, 2. So I think it's a code 12. Let me look that up real quick. So I took a look real quick and I was correct. That is reading as a code 12. And code 12 is TPS open or short, which makes sense. It was open because we broke the circuit and we disconnected it. Now, as I said, the active code is gone. We plugged it back in. This is a code that's in memory. But what you can also see here are codes where you don't get a failure. Relevant case in point, I'm going to make a video on this after this one. I felt these two needed to go together. But I was having problems that this car would stall out and just die and then wouldn't start back up again when it was warm or when it was hot. Just wouldn't do it. I'd have to let it cool down and then it'd fire up just fine. So I learned about this method and I checked the codes and I was getting a code 3 and a code 4. A code 3 and a code 4 are both electric signal codes for the... So I was getting signal codes 3 and 4, which are electric signal codes for the cam angle sensor, or the CAS, on a 1995 Miata with the 1.8 Z-Tach in it. And so I knew I was getting bad signals from the CAS to the rest of the harness. So I thought, okay, maybe I have a bad CAS, right? I started digging into it, and I found something else, but I wouldn't have found that without knowing about putting it in diagnostic mode and looking for this flash code. Now you may be thinking, I fixed everything, I want to get rid of these flash codes to make sure that everything is good and I don't have a code stored in memory. To fix that, we have to clear the battery or disconnect it. Alright, for the terminals I have a 13mm wrench. We'll loosen this up and you just kind of wiggle it loose. Someone put in a non-standard battery on mine, so that kind of causes problems a little bit. You wiggle it off and then just let it sit for, about a minute. If you want it to go faster, pump the brake pedal a few times. That'll drain all the electricity that may be stored in capacitors and things like that. And then come put this back on, and then we'll check to see if there's any codes in memory. Alright, I have reconnected the battery, and you still need to keep your jumper in place, otherwise the engine won't be in diagnostic mode. Go ahead and put her back in the run position, and let's take a look. Okay, so belt went away. So everything should go away. Say put the parking brake down, except charge. Okay, so this means that as of this time, for any auto checks it does or anything, there are no codes currently stored in memory or that are currently active. So let's go see. Now, another thing to note, this diagnostic mode is also used when you're trying to adjust the base idle, because it turns off the advanced timing. So the engine will run this way. And if you guys want, I can make a video on how to set your idle, your base idle as I call it, without timing, so that it will match the engine with timing. So that way it's more or less timed correctly. You can adjust the cast, but that's a whole nother thing. So anyway, that'll do it for this video. This is it's a great way to check to see if you've got kind of hidden codes or you have codes in memory. If you're looking at buying an NA Miata and you want to see the guys being honest, this is also great. Just jumper it, turn the key, see if you got codes. I will put a link in the description to, there's a chart I found that has all the OBD1 codes for Miatas. So that way you have that as a resource if you're trying to troubleshoot your 1.8 at home. Alrighty folks, that's going to do it for this episode. We went over how do you check for active OBD1 codes on your Miata, and also check for codes that maybe silently failed or stored in memory, and then how to clear it. And then part of that is we covered how to go in and out of diagnostic mode. So if you got a comment, leave a comment. I like to read them, I like to reply to them, I like to learn from them. Please also like, share, subscribe, ring the bell if this video helped you. And remember, I'm making mistakes so you don't have to. I'll catch you guys next episode.